Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at kind of an interesting project. If you're interested in military surplus gear for any reason, whether it's, hey, it's serviceable, it's functional, and it's relatively inexpensive compared to a lot of the recreational gear you find out on the market. And I'm talking outdoor gear, right? Backpacks, water carriers, those kinds of things. This could be a good alternative. In particular, I wanted to talk about this today. This is basically a modification to an Alice pack system that I'm working on, just for fun, really. Alice stands for All-Purpose Lightweight Individual Carrying Equipment, and it was the main load-carrying gear for the military for 30 to 40 years, from the early 1970s up through the early 2000s, honestly. In fact, I think some units may still use it for training purposes or other reasons. For the most part, the military has moved on to more modern systems like the MOLLE and MOLLE 2 systems in the Army, and the Philby system in the Marine Corps. But and part of that was because the Alice, and I'm talking specifically about the Alice backpacks, the rucksacks. They had an aluminum frame that was, prone to breakage. It was uncomfortable. The suspension was uncomfortable. The shoulder pads, the waist pad or the waist belt, or kidney belt or whatever you want to call it, really thin, really small, didn't provide a lot of support. Partly that's because they were wearing it over their soldiers' gear, their first line gear, their pistol belt and their pouches and canteens and all that stuff. But we don't have those considerations here in the civilian side. So, so this was basically the sort of my attempt to improve on that and make the Alice pack a more comfortable load carrying system. This is nothing new. Lots of people are doing this. There's a lot of videos out on YouTube. If you look up specifically folks who are doing what's called the Hellcat modification for Alice packs, you can find folks who are doing very similar things. A lot of folks will use the original aluminum frame and they'll put the upgraded waist belt and shoulder straps. I went one step further and I actually replaced the frame, and I'll talk about that. So I don't have the pack here. I mean, I have the pack here. It's just not on the frame right now. But it's a medium-sized Alice pack, and then I have a MOLLE 2 sleep system carrier that mounts below it. So altogether, it's about 4,000 cubic inches of capacity. Again, I don't have them on here because I really just wanted to kind of show the suspension system and the frame. So let's jump into it real quick. So the frame here is specifically, it's the model 1606 MC from Down East Innovation. That is the government contractor that makes these, well, designed and makes these for the military. They make a number of different models of frame. For the Army's MOLLE 2 system, they make a slightly different frame called the 1603. And it has an additional vertical stay here and just a slightly different design. And that pack is a little bit different. The Marine Corps went with, originally it was called the 1606 AC. I believe AC stood for Alice compatible. Might have also meant airborne compatible or something, I'm not sure. But essentially, the 1606 family or line keeps the ability or retains the ability to mount an Alice pack, and that's because it has this construction at the top here. The Alice pack, literally, the pad slides right over here, just like on a regular Alice frame. Just slides right over the top of this. You have to undo these load lifter attachment straps and stuff, but yeah, once you do that, you just slide your pack on here, and then lash it down here with the straps on the Alice pack, and then you're done. It's on there. The thing that's cool about this particular frame, one is it's got all these slots, attachment slots, so that you can more easily mount the MOLLE 2 upgraded waist belt and shoulder straps. Those are really what makes the system. Let me turn it around so you can kind of see. These are vast improvements over what came on the original Alice packs. The shoulder straps, very nice, beefy. You got a sternum strap here. Much better padding, much better contouring. You still retain the quick release here, so you can dump the pack in an emergency. But a lot of guys will mount this to a regular aluminum Alice frame, you know, one of the original frames from the 70s and 80s, and that works. But what you end up having to do is wrap these straps around the vertical stays, as opposed to having specific slots for them, right? And same thing for this vertical strap. This frame has slots for those things, which to me is a much stronger connection. On the Alice pack, if you use one of the original Alice pack frames, the aluminum ones, you have to wrap it around the crossbar and do all kinds of weird stuff and routing, and I have a feeling over time it would fray or come loose or whatever. That's not a problem with the Down East frame. This frame is currently used on the Marine Corps Philby system. This is what they selected. Again, I mentioned before, there was the model 1606 AC. That was the first one that was used in the Philby. The only difference I could detect really is on the model 1606 AC. These slots here, these vertical slots, are all open. And I think part of it is weight savings, but part of it is also additional lashing points. However, what they were finding is the frames were cracking at these points, right? Under load, or, you know, because those guys are carrying, you know, 100 pounds plus in their packs sometimes, especially for airborne operations. You know, these packs were getting dropped on the ground from great height, and they were cracking there. So Down East made an update, and that's the 1606 MC, where these two stays are now solid, as you can see. No more openings, no more slots. And as far as I know, that's been a great improvement, and they aren't seeing the frame cracking anymore. Except under obviously very extreme conditions. But I just want to show you this real quick to kind of show you how I route mine and how I mount it to this frame, my MOLLE 2 straps and suspension. So just looking at the back here, you can see the shoulder straps, I'm using these slots. Now obviously your height might be different. I'm 5'8", so these were the correct height for me. And then of course this top set of straps wraps around here. And then I've got my load lifter attachment straps here, right, in the normal place. So then coming around to the front, here are the load lifters, and then of course the shoulder straps. And then looking at the waist pad, I'm using these two slots here for the vertical attachment straps, and then it's kind of easy. You can get some leverage by just pushing on it and then pulling through to really tighten it up, right? So if, you know, let me just show you. So this here, this is the strap, right? This is the bottom strap here. I have a lot of leverage. I can just really push and pull, boom, and yank it tight. And then I tuck the end in here so there's no loose straps hanging around. Then the shoulder straps I've got wrapped around here, right? So there are probably other ways you could attach the shoulder straps at the bottom, but that worked for me. So I just wanted to show you guys an example of how you could do that on a 1606, a more modern frame. Hopefully that was informational or educational for some of you if you're interested in doing this kind of modification. These frames are not super expensive. I think on the if you order directly from Down East, it's like 41 bucks or something on the website as of the time I'm making this video in 2022. To me, that's honestly as cheap or cheaper than a lot of the surplus Alice pack frames that you find out there that are, you know, have busted rivets or you know, rusted or whatever. So I think it's a really good modification. Really, the only downside to this frame is you can't use the Alice pack cargo shelf on it, and I haven't been able to find an alternative, aftermarket alternative to putting a cargo shelf here, right? So if you wanted to carry something heavy like a full, you know, 5-gallon water or 20-liter water can, or ammo boxes, or whatever, firewood, you know, whatever it is. You could strap those things to it, but there's no horizontal support here, right, that you can rest it on and lash it to. That's really the only downside, but I think for most people, like 99% of people, that's not an issue. The advantages you gain by the lighter weight, stronger construction, and all of the various attachment options with all of these, you know, slots and attachment points, it far outweighs that one disadvantage, and it's not much of a disadvantage, like I said. So other than that, again, hope you guys found this informational, and thanks for taking the time to watch. We'll catch you in the next one.